Good afternoon and welcome to the Hudson Middle School for today's WIAA Sectional Dive Meet. In line with the WIAA and Big Rivers Conference, Hudson High School requires good sportsmanship at education-based interscholastic events. Admission to an event is a privilege, and with that privilege comes responsibility. Responsibility to conduct oneself in a respectful manner, where the meet is enjoyable for other fans and participants. Together, we can support this effort by appreciating the efforts of both teams, the coaches and the officials, in a positive manner. We all play an important role in providing opportunities for all participants to compete in a healthy and safe environment. Lastly, please be reminded that state law prohibits the use of alcohol and tobacco products in an area used by public schools. Additionally, please enjoy the meet in a positive manner without taking pictures with a flash while the diver is on the board or in the air, so no flash photography. Please be reminded that there will be breaks after round 5 and round 8, where after round 8 we will be reordering based on place. So today we'd like to welcome the following schools: the Eau Claire Memorial Old Abe's, coached by Kate French; the Eau Claire North Huskies, coached by Whitney Onyancha; Hudson Raiders, coached by Bailey Brunell; the Rice Lake Warriors, coached by Bob Burdorf; the River Falls Wildcats, coached by Brady Sievers; and the Superior Spartans, coached by Kate Long. Tonight's meet officials are Tom Miller and Steve Bird. Would you all please rise and honor America by removing your hats for the national anthem? Our dive order this evening will be as follows. Up first, Avery Single, River Falls. Up second, Caitlin Buckwheat, Rice Lake. Up third, Gabby Tavare, Eau Claire. Up fourth, Kyla Holmberg, Eau Claire Memorial. Up fifth, Olivia Wolbert, Superior. Up 6th, Jenna Fullerton, Hudson. Up 7th, Kirsten Harper, Eau Claire Memorial. Up 8th, Rachel Everson, River Falls. Up 9th, Maddie Hagan, Eau Claire North. And 10th, Ellen Hollenbach, Superior. This is round 1. Up first, Avery with dive 201B, a back dive pike 1.6. Scores 7, 7, 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 7, 6 1/2, 5 1/2. Up next, Caitlin with dive 401B, an inward dive pike 1.5. Scores 6 1/2, 6, 6, 6 1/2, 6, 7, 5. Up next, Gabby with dive 301C, a reverse dive tuck 1.6. Scores 6, 6, 6, 5, 5 1/2, 6, 6. Up next, Kyla with dive 201A, a back dive straight 1.7. Scores 5, 5, 6, 5 1/2, 4 1/2, 6, 5. Up next, Olivia with dive 102B, a forward 1 somersault pike 1.5. Scores 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 5 1/2, 5, 4 1/2. Up next, Jenna with dive 202A, a back 1 somersault straight 1.7. Scores 5, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 6, 6, 6 1/2, 5. Up next, Kirsten with dive 201A, a back dive straight 1.7. Scores: 5 1/2, 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 5 1/2, 6 1/2. Brady? 6 1/2, 6. Thank you. Next up, Rachel with dive 103B of forward 1.5 somersault pike, 1.7. Scores: 6 7, 6 1/2, 7, 6 1/2, 7, 6 1/2. Up next, Maddie with dive 201A, a back dive straight, 1.7. Scores: 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 6, 4 1/2, 5, 5 1/2, 6 1/2. Up next, Ellen with dive 101B, a forward dive pike, 1.3. Scores: 6 6, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 7, 6 1/2, 6 1/2. Moving on to round 2. Up first, Avery with dive 202C, a back 1 somersault tuck, 1.5. This is dive 202C, a back 1 somersault tuck, 1.5. Okay, this is Avery with dive 202A, a back 1 somersault straight, 1.5. 1.7, sorry. Scores: 5 5, 5, 5 1/2, 4 1/2, 5 1/2, 5. Up next, Caitlin with dive 402C, an inward 1 somersault tuck, 1.6. Scores: 6 1/2, 7, 6 1/2, 7, 7, 7, 6 1/2. Up next, Gabby with dive 302C, a reverse 1 somersault tuck, 1.6. Scores 6, 5 1/2, 5, 5 1/2, 6, 6, 6. Up next, Kyla with dive 202A, a back 1 somersault straight, 1.7. Scores 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5, 5 1/2, 6 1/2, 6, 5 1/2. Up next, Olivia with dive 103C, a forward 1.5 somersault tuck, 1.6. Scores 4, 4 1/2, 4, 4 1/2, 4 1/2, 5, 4 1/2. Up next, Jenna with dive 5221D, a back 1 somersault with a half twist free, 1.7. Scores 5 1/2, 6 1/2, 6, 6 1/2, 7, 6, 7. Up next, Kirsten with dive 5221D, a back 1 somersault with a half twist free, 1.7. Scores 6, 6 1/2, 5 1/2, 7, 6, 6 1/2, 6. Up next, Rachel with dive 104B, a forward 2 somersault pike, 2.3. Scores 6 1/2, 7 1/2, 7, 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 7, 7. Up next, Maddie with dive 202C, a back 1 somersault tuck, 1.5. Scores 3 1/2, 4, 4, 5, 3 1/2, 4, 4. Up next, Ellen with dive 102B, a forward 1 somersault pike, 1.5. Scores 4, 4, 4, 4, 4 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 5. Moving on to round 3. Up first, Avery with dive 5-2-2-3D, a back 1 somersault with 1.5 twists, free, 2.3. Scores 6, 6 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 7, 6 and 1/2. Up next, Caitlin with dive 5-1-2-2-D, a forward 1 somersault with 1 twist, free, 1.9. Scores 5 and 1/2, 6, 6 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 6, 6, 6. Up next, Gabby with dive 103B, a forward 1.5 somersault pike, 1.7. Scores 6, 6, 6, 5 and 1/2, 7, 6 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2. Up next, Kyla with dive 5-2-2-1D, a back 1 somersault with a 1/2 twist, free, 1.7. Scores 4 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2, 4, 4 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2. Up next, Olivia with dive 301A, a reverse dive straight, 1.8. Scores 5 and 1/2, 5, 5 and 1/2, 5, 6, 5 and 1/2, 6. Up next, Jenna with dive 402C, an inward 1 somersault tuck, 1.6. Scores 6, 6 and 1/2, 6, 6 and 1/2, 5, 6 and 1/2, 6. Up next, Kirsten with dive 403C, an inward 1.5 somersault tuck, 2.2. Scores: 4, 4 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 5, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2. Up next, Rachel with dive 401B, an inward dive pike, 1.5. Scores: 8, 7 and 1/2, 7, 8 and 1/2, 8, 8, 7. Up next, Maddie with dive 5221D, 7 and 1/2. Eight, 7 and 1/2, 7, 8 and 1/2, 8, 8, 7 and 1/2. This is Maddie, Rachel. Maddie, thank you. 5221D, a back 1 somersault with a half twist free, 1.7. Scores: 5 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5, 5 and 1/2, 5. Up next, Ellen with dive 5121D, a forward 1 somersault with a half twist free, 1.7. Scores: 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3. Moving on to round 4. Up first, Avery with dive 5231D, a back 1.5 somersault with a half twist free, 2.1. Scores: 4 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2, 6, 6. Up next, Caitlin with dive 103B, a forward 1.5 somersault pike, 1.7. Scores: 5 and 1/2, 6, 6, 6 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2, 6, 6. Up next, Gabby with dive 104B, a forward 2 somersault pike, 2.3. Scores: 5, 4 and 1/2, 5, 5, 5, 4 and 1/2, 5. Up next, Kyla with dive 301C, a reverse dive tuck, 1.6. Scores: 5, 5, 5, 5 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2. Up next, Olivia with dive 302C, a reverse 1 somersault tuck, 1.6. Scores: 3 and 1/2, 4, 4, 4 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 4, 4 and 1/2. Up next, Jenna with dive 403C, an inward 1.5 somersault tuck, 2.2. Scores: 7, 8, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7 and 1/2. Up next, Kirsten with dive 104C, a forward 2 somersault tuck, 2.2. Scores: 5 and 1/2, 5, 4 and 1/2, 6, 4, 6, 6 and 1/2. Up next, Rachel with dive 403B, an inward 1.5 somersault pike, 2.4. Scores: 5, 5, 4 and 1/2, 6, 4, 6, 6. Up next, Maddie with dive 103C, a forward 1.5 somersault tuck, 1.6. Scores: 5, 5, 5 and 1/2, 5, 4, 4 and 1/2, 5. Up next, Ellen with dive 301A, a reverse dive straight, 1.8. Scores: 4, 4 and 1/2, 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 4 and 1/2. Moving on to round 5. Up first, Avery with dive 103B, a forward 1.5 somersault pike, 1.7. 5, 5 and 1/2, 5, 5 and 1/2, 6, 6, 6. Up next, Caitlin with dive 201B, a back dive pike 1.6. Scores: 6, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 6, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2. Up next, Gabby with dive 201A, a back dive straight 1.7. Scores: 7, 7, 7, 8, 8 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2. Up next, Kyla with dive 302C, a reverse 1 somersault tuck 1.6. Scores: 6, 6, 5, 6, 6, 6, 7. Up next, Olivia with dive 201A, a back dive straight 1.7. Scores: 5, 4 and 1/2, 4, 4 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 5, 5 and 1/2. Up next, Jenna with dive 302B, a reverse 1 somersault pike 1.7. Scores: 3, 4, 3 and 1/2, 4, 3 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2. Up next, Kirsten with dive 401B, an inward dive pike 1.5. Scores: 7 and 1/2, 7, 6 and 1/2, 8, 7, 6 and 1/2, 7. Up next, Rachel with dive 5132D, a forward 1.5 somersault with 1 twist, free, 2.2. Scores: 5, 6, 5 and 1/2, 7, 6, 7, 7. Up next, Maddie with dive 104C, a forward 2 somersault tuck, 2.2. Fail dive. Up next, Ellen with dive 302C, a reverse 1 somersault tuck, 1.6. Scores: 5, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 6. And that ends the first 5 rounds. We will be taking a short break. The boards are closed at this time. Thank you. I have your results through the first 5 dives. In 10th place currently with a score of 96.4, Maddie Hagan, Eau Claire North. In 9th place currently with a score of 103.70 points, Ellen Hollenbach, Superior. In 8th place currently with a score of 115.35 points, Olivia Wolbert, Superior. Currently in 7th place with a score of 130.95 points, Kyla from Eau Claire Memorial. In 6th place currently with a score of 151.75 points, Caitlin Buckwheat, Rice Lake. In 5th place currently with a score of 155.70 points, Jenna Fullerton, Hudson. In 4th place currently with a score of 158.45 points, Gabby Tavare, Eau Claire Memorial. In 3rd place currently with a score of 163.50 points, Avery Single, River Falls. In 2nd place currently with a score of 164.55 points, Kirsten Harper, Eau Claire Memorial. And in 1st place currently with a score of 196.60 points, Rachel Everson, River Falls. Here we go, moving on to round 6. First up, Avery with dive 401B, an inward dive pike, 1.5. Quiet, please. Scores: 7 and 1/2, 6, 5 and 1/2, 7 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2, 6, 6. Up next, Caitlin with dive 301B, a reverse dive pike, 1.7. Scores: 7, 5 and 1/2, 6, 7, 6 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2. Up next, Gabby with dive 522 3D, a back 1 somersault with 1.5 twists, free, 2.3. Scores: 6 1/2, 7 1/2, 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 7, 5 1/2. Up next, Kyla with dive 401C, an inward dive tuck, 1.4. Scores: 6, 6, 6, 5, 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 7. Up next, Olivia with dive 5211A, a back dive with a half twist straight, 1.8. Scores: 3, 5, 4 1/2, 5, 4, 5, 4 1/2. Up next, Jenna with dive 201A, a back dive straight, 1.7. Scores: 6, 6, 5, 6, 6, 5 1/2, 6. Up next, Kirsten with dive 103B, a forward 1.5 somersault pike, 1.7. Scores: 6, 6, 6, 6, 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 6 1/2. Up next, Rachel with dive 201B, a back dive pike, 1.6. Scores: 7 1/2, 6, 6 1/2, 7 1/2, 6 1/2, 7, 6. Up next, Maddie with dive 401C, an inward dive tuck, 1.4. Scores: 5, 6, 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 4, 5 1/2, 6. Up next, Ellen with dive 401B, an inward dive pike, 1.5. Scores, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 6, 5, 5 and 1/2. Moving on to round 7. Up first, Avery with dive 301B, a reverse dive, pike 1.7. Scores, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 6, 6 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2. Up next, Caitlin with dive 202A, a back 1 somersault straight, 1.7. Scores, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 6, 6, 6, 5 and 1/2. Up next, Gabby with dive 402C, an inward 1 somersault tuck, 1.6. Scores, 6, 7 and 1/2, 6, 7 and 1/2, 7, 7, 7. Up next, Kyla with dive 402C, an inward 1 somersault tuck, 1.6. Scores, 6, 6, 5, 5 and 1/2, 5, 6 and 1/2, 7. Up next, Olivia with dive 202B, a back 1 somersault pike, 1.6. Scores, 6, 5, 5, 5, 6, 5 and 1/2, 6. Up next, Jenna with dive 103B, a forward 1.5 somersault pike, 1.7. Scores, 7 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2, 7 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2, 8, 7, 7 and 1/2. Up next, Kirsten with dive 301B, a reverse dive, pike 1.7. Scores, 5 and 1/2, 6, 6, 6, 7, 6, 6 and 1/2. Up next, Rachel with dive 203B, a back 1.5 somersault pike, 2.3. Scores 6, 7, 6 and 1/2, 7, 7, 7, 7 and 1/2. Up next, Maddie with dive 301C, a reverse dive tuck, 1.6. Failed dive. Up next, Ellen with dive 402C, an inward 1 somersault tuck, 1.6. Scores 5, 5 and 1/2, 5, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2. Moving on to round 8. Up first, Avery with dive 302C, a reverse 1 somersault tuck, 1.6. This is Avery with dive 302C, a reverse 1 somersault tuck, 1.6. Scores 5, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5. Up next, Caitlin with dive 5221D, a back 1 somersault with a half twist, free, 1.7. Scores 6, 6, 6, 6 and 1/2, 7, 6 and 1/2, 7. Up next, Gabby with dive 403C, an inward 1.5 somersault tuck, 2.2. Scores 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 6, 4 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2. Up next, Kyla with dive 101C, a forward dive tuck, 1.2. Scores 7, 6, 7, 6 and 1/2, 7 and 1/2, 7, 8. Up next, Olivia with dive 401B, an inward dive pike 1.5. Scores 5, 5 and 1/2, 5, 7, 5 and 1/2, 5, 6. Up next, Jenna with dive 104B, a forward 2 somersault pike 2.3. Scores 6, 6, 6 and 1/2, 7, 6, 6 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2. Up next, Kirsten with dive 202A, a back 1 somersault straight 1.7. Scores 5, 6, 5 and 1/2, 6, 6, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2. Up next, Rachel with dive 302B, a reverse 1 somersault pike 1.7. This is Rachel with dive 302B, a reverse 1 somersault pike 1.7. Moving on. Up next, Ellen with dive 201A, a back dive straight 1.7. Scores 4 and 1/2, 5, 5, 5, 6, 5, 5 and 1/2. That ends round 8. The boards are open. We will be having a 10-minute break. The boards are open. Our dive scores through 8 rounds are as follows. Currently in 10th place with a score of 119.50, Maddie Hagan, Eau Claire North. Currently in 9th place with a score of 180.35, Ellen Hollenbach, Superior. Currently in 8th place with a score of 190.95, Olivia Wolbert, Superior. Currently in 7th place with a score of 210.05 points, Kyla Holmberg, Eau Claire Memorial. Currently in 6th place with a score of 245.75 points, Avery Single, River Falls. Currently in 5th place with a score of 246.10 points, Caitlin Buckwheat, Rice Lake. Currently in 4th place with a score of 255.50 points, Kirsten Harper, Eau Claire Memorial. Currently in 3rd place with a score of 267.40 points, Jenna Fullerton, Hudson. Currently in 2nd place with a score of 273.20 points, Gabby Tavera, Eau Claire Memorial. And currently in 1st place with a score of 276.90 points, Rachel Everson, River Falls. We have reseeded the dive order. The new dive order for the final 3 rounds will be as follows. Diving first, Ellen Hollenbach, Superior. Diving second, Olivia Wolbert, Superior. Diving third, Kyla Holmberg, Eau Claire Memorial. Diving fourth, Avery Single, River Falls. Diving fifth, Caitlin Buckwheat, Rice Lake. Diving sixth, Kirsten Harper, Eau Claire Memorial. Diving seventh, Jenna Fullerton, Hudson. Diving eighth, Gabby Tavare, Eau Claire Memorial. And diving ninth, Rachel Everson, River Falls. Here we go, moving on to round 9. Up first, Ellen with dive 5211A, a back dive with a half twist straight, 1.8. Scores: 5, 5, 4 and 1/2, 5, 6, 5, 5. Up next, Olivia with dive 402C, an inward 1 somersault tuck, 1.6. Scores: 6, 6, 5, 5, 6, 5 and 1/2, 5. Up next, Kyla with dive 102C, a forward 1 somersault tuck, 1.4. Scores: 4 and 1/2, 6, 5, 5 and 1/2, 6, 5, 5. Up next, Avery with dive 402C, an inward 1 somersault tuck, 1.6. Scores 5, 5, 4 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5, 5. Up next, Caitlin with dive 5231D, a back 1.5 somersault with a half twist, free, 2.1. Scores 4 and 1/2, 5, 5, 5, 4 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 6. Up next, Kirsten with dive 5223D, a back 1 somersault with 1.5 twists, free, 2.3. Scores 4, 4 and 1/2, 4, 4 and 1/2, 4, 4, 4 and 1/2. Up next, Jenna with dive 5223D, a back 1 somersault with 1.5 twists, free, 2.3. Scores 5 and 1/2, 6, 6, 6 and 1/2, 6, 6, 6 and 1/2. Up next, Gabby with dive 5124D, a forward 1 somersault with 2 twists, free, 2.3. Scores 4 and 1/2, 5, 5 and 1/2, 6, 4 and 1/2, 5, 6. Up next, Rachel with dive 303C, a reverse 1.5 somersault tuck, 2.1. Scores 6 and 1/2, 7, 6 and 1/2, 7, 7 and 1/2, 8, 7. Moving on to round 10. Up first, Ellen with dive 202A, a back 1 somersault straight, 1.7. Scores 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 3, 3 1/2. Up next, Olivia with dive 5-2-2 1D, a back 1 somersault with a half twist, free, 1.7. Scores 3 1/2, 3 1/2, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Up next, Kyla with dive 103C, a forward 1.5 somersault tuck, 1.6. Scores 4 1/2, 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 6, 7, 5 1/2, 5 1/2. Up next, Avery with dive 102B, a forward 1 somersault pike, 1.5. Scores 5, 5 1/2, 5, 5 1/2, 6, 5 1/2, 6. Up next, Caitlin with dive 302C, a reverse 1 somersault tuck, 1.6. Scores 6, 6 1/2, 5 1/2, 7, 6 1/2, 6, 7. Up next, Kirsten with dive 302B, a reverse 1 somersault pike, 1.7. Scores 6 1/2, 6, 5 1/2, 7, 6 1/2, 5 1/2, 6 1/2. Up next, Jenna with dive 301B, a reverse dive pike, 1.7. Scores 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 6, 7, 6 1/2, 6, 6 1/2. Up next, Gabby with dive 202A, a back 1 somersault straight, 1.7. Scores 6, 6, 6, 7, 6 1/2, 6, 6. Up next, Rachel with dive 5-2-2 3D, a back 1 somersault with 1.5 twists, free, 2.3. Scores 6, 6, 6, 7, 6 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2. Moving on to round 11, our final round. Up first, Ellen with dive 103C, a forward 1.5 somersault tuck, 1.6. Scores 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2, 5, 6, 5 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2. Up next, Olivia with dive 101A, a forward dive straight, 1.4. Scores 4, 4 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 5, 5, 4 and 1/2, 5. Up next, Kyla with dive 5121D, a forward 1 somersault with a half twist, free, 1.7. Scores 4 and 1/2, 5, 5, 5, 4 and 1/2, 5, 5. Up next, Avery with dive 5124D, a forward 1 somersault with 2 twists, free, 2.3. Scores 3 and 1/2, 5, 4 and 1/2, 4, 5 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 5 and 1/2. Up next, Caitlin with dive 104C, a forward 2 somersault tuck, 2.2. Scores 6, 6, 5 and 1/2, 6 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, 6, 6 and 1/2. Up next, Kirsten with dive 402C, an inward 1 somersault tuck, 1.6. Scores 6, 6, 5 and 1/2, 7, 6 and 1/2, 6, 6. Up next, Jenna with dive 5122D, a forward 1 somersault with 1 twist, free, 1.7. Scores 4 and 1/2, 5, 5 1/2, 6, 4 1/2, 5, 6. Up next, Gabby with dive 5-2-2-5D, a back 1 somersault with 2 1/2 twists, free 2.7. Scores: 4 1/2, 5, 5, 4 1/2, 3, 4 1/2, 5. Up next, Rachel with dive 5-2-3-1D, a back 1 1/2 somersault with a half twist, free 2.1. Scores: 7 1/2, 7 1/2, 6 1/2, 7 1/2, 8, 8, 7 1/2. And that ends all 11 rounds of the sectional dive meet tonight. We will have your results shortly. Okay, we have your results this evening. Sorry for the delay. We had a little snafu. We didn't realize that Rice Lake was D2, so we had to separate that out and then place people. So, would the head coach for River Falls please head over to lane 8? So in Division 2, our top place winner tonight from Rice Lake with a final score of 347.60, Katie Buckwheat. Katie, you will be receiving your award tomorrow at your sectional. So in Division 1, in 8th place with a final score of 251.60 points, from Superior, Ellen Hollenbach. In 7th place with a final score of 257.35 points, From Superior, Olivia Wolbert. In 6th place, with a final score of 286.05 points, from Eau Claire Memorial, Kyla Holmberg. In 5th place, with a final score of 326.70 points, from River Falls, Avery Singal. In 4th place, with a final score of 345.35 points, from Eau Claire Memorial, Kirsten Harper. In 3rd place, with a final score of 371.40 points, from Hudson, Jenna Fullerton. In 2nd place, with the final score of 377.25 points, from Eau Claire Memorial, Gabby Tavare. And in 1st place, with the final score of 411.95 points, from River Falls, Rachel Everson. Well done, ladies. Congratulations to all the divers and coaches tonight, and best of luck to those individuals that'll be continuing on to the state tournament next weekend. Thank you and drive safe.